Hello again, it's Alec, and today I'm going to be giving a little short tutorial on an introduction to making a game with JavaScript, and we're going to be using the P5.js graphics library. So hopefully you'll learn some skills that are pretty useful. So let's just get started, and I'm going to make an index.html file that will have basically all it's going to be doing is it's going to set us up with. This is where we're going to import all our JavaScript files, and then a canvas is going to run in here, but all the JavaScript code is going to be somewhere else. And the game we're making is Pong, so I will have that be our title, and I'll add a nice little H1 here that says Pong, and that should be it for the HTML. Pretty simple. And then in terms of scripts, we need to import. These are a couple of JS files that won't exist for you or me yet, but we're gonna have Sketch. That's the main one. Then we're gonna have a ball class, and we're gonna have a paddle class. Those are the two main classes. And actually, I'm gonna import Sketch down here. These things get imported before the Sketch because Sketch depends on them. And then the last thing we need to import is we need to import the library that we're going to be using, which is called p5.min.js. You're going to have to download this from their website, which if you just look up p5.js, it's pretty easy to find. If you have npm or something, you can also download it like that, but with just npm ip5. But either way, you're going to download this, and I'm just going to clean it up since I'm not really making an intense project with this. We're just going to do a little video, and then that's pretty much it. And I forgot to start my timer, so I'll start that now. But anyways, so we've made our little index.html file, and then I'll just touch all of the JS files that we need. That just means I'm creating these new files with nothing inside of them. And then let me just put code in sketch.js to make a blank canvas on the screen, and then we can test this. Setup is a function that P5.js calls exactly once at the start of your program, and we're going to put a create canvas command in here, and I'm actually going to make the screen dimensions variables. Sorry for my noisy typing. I'm using a big keyboard because I broke my arms, so I can't use my regular one. But anyways, we're going to make I think 800 by 600 should be a good size. And we've created the board. Now we're going to draw it with a black. I think black is a nice color for the background. So that's all the code we need to get a blank screen. So I'm running with Python, as you can see over there, running a little just thing to show it up, and we're going to go to localhost 8000, and as you can see, once you reload it, you get Pong. The thing I had before is because I was testing something else related to this beforehand. So anyways, we can make a blank screen. That's pretty good, but we don't want just a blank screen. We want some stuff in it, so let's put some stuff in it. The two things I said we're going to have paddles and balls. So let's commit to making a ball called ball, and I think the only parameters we're going to send this guy is initial position. Yes, I think that's pretty good. So we'll initialize the position to half to the middle of the screen. So that's the middle of the screen. So that means let's just make a little class here for the ball, which has a constructor which only takes in initial position, and then the ball has a couple characteristics. It's going to have a position, which starts at initial position. It's going to have some other stuff that we're going to deal with later, like velocity, which I'll just make 0, 0. First component is the x component of velocity. Second is y component. We have to have a radius to draw it. Anyways, so yeah, now let's draw it. Make a function to draw it rather. I'll call it render, and all it's going to do is it's going to draw an ellipse at the position. Sorry about this. We'll pause of 1, and then so that's the center, and then this is the width and the height of the ellipse, or rather circle is a special class of ellipse. Anyways, and we better fill this with red, I guess. That should do it. And then in addition to a ball, let's create 2 paddles. We haven't created the paddle class yet, so I'll just create that really fast. I don't know what parameters that's going to take in yet, but I am pretty sure there's going to be a position. Actually, for this one I'm going to decompose position into an x position and a y position, because this one can only move in one direction, unlike the ball. So I think this, I don't know if it makes it simpler, but I'm going to do it like this. And render is going to draw a rectangle at this dot x pause, this dot y pause, and by this dot width, which does not exist yet, but will exist in a second. And we'll maybe make it green, RGB. This dot width. And yeah, now this is where what I was talking about becomes important. It doesn't have an x velocity. It can't move in the x direction. But we'll start its y velocity off at 0. And actually, I'm worried that width and height are taken. So I'm going to call it p width and p height for paddle width and paddle height. I think width and height are actually variables that are defined somewhere else. But we can use this dot width safely. So anyways, now let's go back to making these. We're going to make a right paddle and a left paddle. And let's see, it just takes in an initial position and a size, I believe. So let's decide what size we're going to have. Maybe we'll do 30 seems pretty reasonable, and maybe 100. We can calibrate these if needed, but then at least for the last 2 parameters we know what to pass now. But then what are the first 2 parameters? That's the x and y start location. So for both of those, the y start location is the same. That would be screen dimensions of 1/2. That's half the thing. And then because it's drawn from top left, we need to shift that up by the height divided by 2. So paddle height divided by 2, and then this part is the same for both of them, so I'll just put that in there. But then there's a slightly different x coordinate, because one of them is on the left and one of them is on the right. So that should be screen dimensions of, sorry about that, screen dimensions of 0 times 0.1 is like a little bit offset, and then we'll subtract off half the width, although they're not very wide, so you probably won't tell a difference if you don't subtract off half the width. It's just better to make sure it really is centered. And then for this one, we're going to do similar thing, but on the other side of the screen, so times 0.9, and then minus paddle width times 0.5, and That should be pretty much good. Let's see if there are any errors when we try to render everything. So we'll do ball.render, left paddle.render, right paddle.render. One of the paddles is going to be user controlled, one is going to be computer controlled, but that's amazing. I think that's gonna, well, okay, I'll draw some text to represent the scores, but then I'll move on to doing the motion in the next video. So, but we'll have 2 variables for the score, left score and right score, and I can just do some little text to, the text can be, maybe I'll go blue. Well, the text will be, it will just be the number. I don't need to be very, don't need anything besides the number. And then we can just do maybe screen dimensions of 0 times 0.2 is kind of a nice position to put it. That should be a pretty nice position. And then this one's 0.8. It's approximate. Let's see what that looks like. That's really small text. You probably can't even see it. I think its text size is 40. Let's try 40. That looks a bit better, and that's going to be the end of this video. See you in the next video for motion.